everyone, and welcome to Gate Science Incorporated channel. Today I'm going to be shooting a video about what it's like being the husband or the wife to a teacher. So I have my husband here with me by the name of Harvey Gates Jr., who gave me the name Gates.
Hello.
And so what I'm pretty much going to do is go through a series of questions for him that he has no clue what I'm going to ask him, and hopefully he answers in a nice way. But let's go ahead and get started. Okay, question number one. In your opinion, what are some pros and cons of having a teacher wife?
Pros and cons. Well, I'd say some pros are my wife is very passionate about the subjects that she teaches, so it's good to see her, really do a good job of teaching her students and putting her thoughts and everything into her assignments and everything, and I can tell that she really enjoys what she's doing in that sense, so that's a good thing. A con is that teachers, as I'm sure most people know, they have a lot of work when they come home in terms of grading. She's always grading papers and lesson planning, so it takes away from her life at home, so that's probably the biggest con.
Okay. That's a good answer. Okay, and the next question I have for you is, how would you compare teaching to other professions now that you've seen it all from home?
Right. The biggest difference I'd say is pretty much like the previous question as to when you have to bring work home. Most jobs, not all, but most, once you're done with work for the day, you come home and then you don't think about work until the next day. But when you're a teacher, you come home from work and then you have to grade, lesson plan, email parents and all that type of stuff. So they bring the work home, the work never stops for them. So that's probably the biggest difference.
Yeah. Okay, the next question I have for you is, how is it hearing about my day when I come home from school? Whether it's like good stuff, that I have going on with the student, or like bad stuff that I have dealing with, whatever it could be. Maybe I had a mood swing that day. But how is that hearing me vent when I come home from school?
Right. It's good. I guess it's good and bad. It's good on the days when, you hear good stories about the students behaving, or nobody's, putting a lot of, work for you to do and projects for you to do and things like that. So that's good, but it's bad when I have to hear about the stories of the students not behaving, or you having too much work to grade at home, and the parents are emailing you nonstop about their kids. So when I hear stories like that, it's bad. So it makes me cherish when I do hear the good stories more so than the bad.
Yeah, and I do have more good stories than I do bad. But, you at any job, you're going to have to vent about things at work. He vents to me about stuff at work too. I don't tell him specifically, each student's name or whatever the case may be, and if I did, he probably even won't remember the name of the student. And so just normal venting to your husband or to your wife, and I'm glad that you're supportive in that way.
Right.
And he does tell me what I should do or give me advice, and that does help calm me down. So good to have a support system.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next question that I have for you is, do you enjoy helping me prepare for my lessons? And if so, which was your favorite or your least favorite? If you do. If you don't, then that's fine too. Tread lightly.
I do enjoy some of them. Sometimes when it's like helping you put together, like projects or activities, for the kids to do in class. Things like that are fun. The helping with maybe like the grading or things like that might not be as fun, just because my wife, she's had a lot of classes. It's not just one class, so she'd have to grade for like 2, 3, and 4 classes, which can multiply that times 15, 20, 30, however many kids. Like, that's a lot of papers to go through specifically. So the grading, not as much, but the group projects and activities, yeah, that's pretty fun.
And I appreciate you being there to help me to grade. If I didn't have somebody at home, I think it'll be a little bit more stressful. And I don't ask him to grade every time I grade. It's mainly when I feel like I'm at my wit's end and I really need to get this done before I get back the next day. So
Right.
thank you for helping me.
No
with
problem.
that. Okay, so the next question that I have for you is, do you remember your favorite teacher and what made them your favorite teacher? It could be even from like preschool if you remember back that far.
I do remember, and this is going way back, a teacher, her name was Miss Pendergrass, and I'll remember.
What grade was that?
This was first grade.
I'm not making fun of
No,
her name.
you're
I
good.
don't even remember my first grade teacher name.
I remember stuff, especially when it's good, and I just remember it was first
Oh,
grade, and
that's
I
good.
remember that year I had a lot of different health issues. I won't get into the specifics, but I had to be on crutches for a while. I was on a wheelchair, things like that, and I remember specifically on a few occasions the teacher would come to my house in the evening, meet with my parents to just, check and see how I'm doing. And
Oh wow, she came to your
she
house.
physically drove to my house and she'd make sure I had all my assignments, and she said, I could, if I had to take days off for health reasons, whatever, she said, it's no issue, you can make up whatever. And she, really made me feel, happy and loved, and didn't make, even though I was going through health issues, she didn't make it seem like, that was a detriment, and things like that. And even she made sure the other students, knew like what was going on, and like, where they wouldn't, be worried or whatever. And she was just very nice. And not every teacher would go that extra mile to, go to your student's house, make sure they have the homework, check in with the parents, see how they're doing. So I've had a lot of good teachers, but just her doing that always stuck with me all these years later. So Miss
Wow, I
Pendergrass,
didn't
first
even know
grade,
that.
thank you. Still remember you.
Wow, I think the teacher that I remember was probably from 4th grade, and her name was Miss Acorn. And I just remember it because we had moved to Long Island, and I was like the only black kid in school. But she was so nice to me and always saying that my mom dressed me nicely and all this stuff, and some of the kids were bullying me, and she was just being so nice to help me out. But yeah, you always remember that teacher that goes the extra mile for you. So see, we have such a huge impact on our students
Absolutely.
when we go that extra mile.
Very true.
All right. Okay, the next question that I have for you is, would you ever see yourself as a teacher? Why or why not? I
No.
think I already
No.
knew that answer.
No times 100, no to infinity and beyond.
Why not?
No in every language. And I respect teachers for what they do. We need good teachers, especially in today's time. But it's just dealing with the kids of this generation and their entitlement. They think they know everything. They don't want to do all the work. If they don't turn in an assignment, they'll find a way to make the teacher seem like the bad guy. Then they'll tell the parents. The parents will email the students and blame. Pretty much the teacher gets all the blame, and never the credit when things go right. And I've seen that firsthand with my wife and other teacher friends that I have and things. So I just could never do it just because of the kids. The way they treat, handle things, and the way the parents just are always involved in thinking their kid can never get a question on. God forbid if they get anything below a 110, they're gonna, email the principal, email the 110. Like, no, I'm serious. That's the way they do. So I couldn't do it just for that. I respect them and all that, but I just know myself I couldn't do it. But much respect to anybody that is a teacher.
And because we've seen like everything that teachers go through,
Yeah.
when we have kids, we know like we're not gonna treat teachers that way at all, and make sure that our kids know that they're responsible for their work and their actions.
Right, can't blame
and
it on
not blame
nobody
it
else. It's
on
on you. That's
the
right.
teachers. Sometimes you do have those teachers, one or two, that
Yeah.
they are really insane, and you gotta protect your kid from that. But for the most part, no, you gotta respect your authority.
Right.
So, the next question that I have for you is, would you recommend dating a teacher or marrying a teacher in our case to any of your guy friends?
I think that I would, just with the caveat being that if it's the teacher that's in a situation where she's comfortable and she's at peace with her teaching. Sometimes teachers, they're not happy with how many classes they have, with how many students they have, with how much grading they have to do. So if whoever the woman or guy is that you're dating and they're a teacher and they're happy or at least set, with where they are, and they're not complaining, to the point where it's like an everyday thing, then I'd say that's okay. But if it's one of those things where they're not really set, they're just doing it until something better comes along, or they're just constantly unhappy to the point where it affects you guys as a couple outside of work, then I would say absolutely not. So it just depends on the situation.
And that's like with any job.
Yeah.
If any job doesn't make you happy, then you shouldn't do it.
Right.
Point blank, period.
Yeah.
So, but so would you recommend or
Yeah,
just
I
pretty
would,
much
yeah.
if it's something
If
that
they're
she
happy
loves
with-
and
yeah.
is happy about doing it,
Right.
or he loves and he's happy about doing it, then yes.
Absolutely.
That's
But
good.
if they're not, and they'll make it pretty evident. But if they're not, then no. But if they are, hey, more power to you. It'll all work out. So.
Yeah. Okay, and the second to last question, knowing what you know about teaching from, having a wife that is a teacher and a couple of friends, what is one thing that you would change or not change about the teaching profession?
One thing that I would change.
And don't say vacations because we really need those.
Right. And like I said before, I have much respect to the teachers because I know how hard they work and, the things that they have to deal with on a daily basis. So much respect to them. From what I've seen, the one thing that I would change, if there was a way to do that, and I don't have all the answers, but if I magically did, I would find a way to make it so that the teachers wouldn't have to bring so much work home, whether it be maybe so they wouldn't have to grade every day, maybe like grade once a week or twice a week, or maybe they wouldn't have to lesson plan every day, maybe just like once or twice a week, and then they could have a few days in the afternoon when they're done with work. When they come home, they can just rest and do their own personal stuff instead of having to worry about the school. So that would be the one thing I would change if I could.
And did you say what you would keep? Like what?
Well, that's what I would change.
Oh, okay.
What I would keep is making sure that all teachers keep those summer vacations off in the summer, because it's not that much, but I'm sure that they really appreciate it after dealing with the rigorous things that they deal with during the school year. So they need that summer break to get their minds right for the next school year. So just
And what
hopefully they
about
keep
during the
that.
school year? What would you keep?
During the school year, I would keep the field trips that they can go on. Yeah, I know that they get to go on at least a few a year. I'd like to keep that. It'd be a good break for the teachers from teaching in the classroom, which can become kind of, blah after a while, just kind of on repeat type thing. So if they can go to the aquarium, the zoo, an educational movie, a museum, I wanted to find a way to let the teachers and students or whatever keep their field trips throughout the year.
And this is the last and final question. I just want to know your overall perspective of being married to a teacher. What is your overall perspective of dating a teacher and just being married to a teacher overall, I guess, your overall perspective.
Well, it's been a good experience. Like I said, I could tell that my wife is very passionate. She's a woman of science, all that. So she's really interested in all of those topics. So it's been good to see her have to, put together lesson plans and quizzes, tests, projects, plan field trips and all that, just based on something that she's passionate about. And this isn't something that she just kind of deals with at school and then comes home. Like, she actually generally loves that. Like, she'll always watch documentaries on sciencey stuff, always trying to find ways to become a better teacher. If we're out looking at something, she'll, try to science it up like, ooh, this comes from this, and, etc. So it's really good to see her.
Oh, there was a question that I missed. How was your experience meeting my students and going to some of my school events? Did I ask you that one? Okay, so yeah, incorporate that.
Oh, okay, so yeah,
because he did meet some of my students, and we
did.
even had a tragedy recently, a couple months ago, where one of my students passed in a car accident, and that was very heartbreaking for me. And he saw me cry for a good 2 or 3 days, like on and off. And he even went to like the remembrance service with me, and I don't have kids right now, but I do treat my students like my kids. So.
Absolutely, yeah. It was a good experience meeting. I didn't meet a lot of them, but I met a few of them, and at different events, football games at the
cheerleaders,
yes, her cheerleaders, her babies, all those things. So they were all very nice to me. They all shook my hands, gave me nice big hugs, had nice smiles on their face, and told me how much my wife means to them. And I tell my wife all the time, you're more than just a teacher to them. You're like their fairy godmother, their counselor, whatever you want to call it. They really look up to you. They come to you, and I get it, because sometimes you can't necessarily go to your family and close ones for for everything. You might have to go to a new set of voice and ears to hear. So
Right.
she makes an impact in their life, and they've all been very nice to her and to me. And just talking to them, it made me happy to know that my wife has made such a positive impact in their life, and that they all treat her very nice, and they think that she's one of the best teachers, if not their favorite teacher. So just hearing those type of things really made me smile. So it's been a good experience meeting a lot of her classmates and fellow teachers, etc. And it's a wild ride, but I think it's a fun one. And like I said, much respect to all the teachers.
Okay. Well, I appreciate my husband taking time off of his Sunday to answer these questions for me, as well as any other husband, or I guess wife or boyfriend or girlfriend who's dating someone or is looking into dating someone in the teaching profession. It's not as bad as you may think. It's rewarding, and you enjoy it as much as I do, I think.
I absolutely do.
So thank you for that. All right, well, thank you for visiting my channel. Remember to comment below if you have any more questions for my husband or for me. Also, hit the subscribe button so you can get more content
Hit that subscribe button. That's
so you can get more content like this, and I will see you in my next video.
Bye-bye.
Bye.